Start. Okay, awesome. Welcome everyone to our August 27th webinar. I see quite a few people are already in the waiting room, so we're going to let everyone kind of trickle in. But we're super excited to start. We are a little bit bummed out. We did have elevator music playing for everyone, but apparently my audio settings, Zoom is really good at noise canceling. We've learned this morning. Anyway, so thank you again so much for joining. We're really excited for all of you to be here. Some quick housekeeping items. First off, I'm Josh, this is Todd. We'll jump into that here in a second. But housekeeping items, we want this to be engaging. We want this to be beneficial for you and your teams, for anyone that's joining. So we do ask for your participation. There's going to be times throughout the webinar that we're going to poll you. We're going to ask questions. We want this to be interactive. With that said, down below at the bottom of your screen, there should be a Q&A section. So instead of going into your normal chat, if you have any questions, go ask that in the Q&A channel. We actually have Adam who's working on the background. And so as questions are coming through, it may be more relevant for him to answer those questions or take those questions offline. But with that, we do want to hear your questions. I asked some questions before the webinar. We'll answer those throughout the webinar, or I've already reached out preemptively to make sure that those questions get answered, knowing that it wouldn't necessarily be covered during this webinar session. But all that said, thank you so much for joining us. We're really excited for you to be here. And I know Todd especially has a lot of really fun things to kind of share with you and kind of go through. Let's kind of recap. You know, it's been a while since our last webinar. The last time it was in April.
Yep.
So yeah, just take it away, Todd. What's going on?
Well, thank you to those who came to the last webinar and gave input. I want to start really there. So last time when we met, we asked some questions around what projects we were thinking about and wanted to get your input on those. So these were the ones that we asked you guys about, adding files to clients in collections and client activities. We talked about appointments. We talked about enhanced kiosk. I won't go into detail on that. We asked about out of office replies for associates. So we had you vote on those, if you remember, and the top three we put into work, and the kiosk is now out and available to everyone. We're going to cover that today and what that looks like. We are calling it contactless capture, and we'll go into tons of detail. We've been working furiously on appointments. We're excited to show you that. That's in beta now with some people. And then we're also efforting on adding files to clients. So a lot has happened since last time. Thank you for your input. We listened and we're running on some stuff. So with that, let's look at some of the things that are now available that have changed since our last webinar. The biggest one is this contactless capture, where you have the kiosk in your hand in the store, but now we want to make it so you can get customer information anywhere on their devices, out in the world. And so let's talk a little bit about why we did this. You know this better than I do, that a lot of people walk into your store and leave without making a purchase, and often leave without any contact information being collected. But people are using stores. People aren't just shopping online. You know, the in-store experience is super important, especially for luxury items, things you want to touch and feel before you buy them. And so the store visit is critical, but it's difficult to capture information from everyone. And so we want to make that easier for you to capture their information wherever they are. So that includes people that walk into the store. We're kind of covered there with the iPad kiosk, though this new contactless capture will give you an option to use a QR code and have the customer fill out their information on their own device. You don't have to hand them your device, which is really, really nice. Another place that this can be really, really helpful is on your website. I think I looked at like 90 of customers' websites recently, and I think it was 95% of them have a contact form of some sort on their website. Where that information goes, it goes to probably an email somewhere. But what if it went right into Clientbook? We have web chat already, but we don't really have a contact form until now. So this, you can put it on your website, so people that are visiting your site can enter their contact information. And then finally, just out in the world, like you can put this QR code in a magazine ad, in an online ad, and on a billboard, wherever you want, and people can scan the QR code and get in touch with your store immediately. So that's the big idea there. We wanted to show you how this works in real life. So Josh is going to do a demo of how you can use this today. This is available to all customers right now, and we'll show you how to set it up.
So I'm just going to toggle over and share my screen. So this is in a live account. This is one of our merchants out in New Jersey. We love Ryan. So first things first, let's talk a little bit about this contactless capture. You kind of understand the reason why. So to find that form, to find those QR codes, that can simply be found on your Today page. With that said, as I'm toggling over here, I do want to mention that this is also available on the app version. So if you're used to using an iPad, same concepts apply. If you toggle over to your Today page and you click into your kiosk mode, and an iPad, it's going to be your top left-hand corner. When you come into kiosk, this should look relatively normal to everyone, right? This is what a normal kiosk looks like. And again, historically, you would hand the iPad to the sales or to the client. They would fill out their contact information and then hit submit and then move on, right? Now with this contactless capture, when you come into your kiosk, you'll notice in the top right-hand corner, you now have these two options. First thing I just want to mention too, so let's say I'm logged in as Ryan right now. When I click on this QR code, you'll notice that this QR code is now designated to Ryan Blumenthal. With that, we also give you the option to download this QR code. We even have some templates for you. We have like a phone template. So Ryan effectively can download this QR code. He can save it as a background on his phone or something, or have it printed off like on his phone or on his business card. And effectively, if a customer, Todd, scans that QR code, fills out this form, that client will then get added into that associate's client book. It will automatically be assigned to them, and then you can continue that relationship, right? We're in the relationship business. That's what Clientbook is built for. So this is a really easy way to capture that information. Todd mentioned, a lot of you're networking all the time, not always in the store. So this is a really great way that you can capture that contact information. Then the second option you'll notice is that little link icon. If I copy and paste that link, I can then take that link and post it anywhere. I can post it on my website. I can post it on my Facebook page. Wherever you want this link to live, you can post it anywhere, and then effectively the customer can click on that link, and again, we'll take them to this contact form. With that said, I do want to highlight maybe a little bit too. One big question that we may get is, how do we edit these fields? How do we add these fields? That can be done underneath your setup tab.
Josh is doing that. I wanted to point out a couple other things. Ryan's store is a single store location. If you're multi-store, the kiosk will also allow you to switch stores. And the QR code that Josh was showing can be personalized to the associate, but can also be to the store. Mm-hmm. So if it's set to the store, then you'll be able to have those kind of as inbound unassigned clients that come in.
Yep, absolutely. And the last thing I just want to mention when it comes to this contactless capture, again, if you wanted to edit those fields, where those that live, if you come as an admin underneath your setup tab, come underneath, I believe clients. It's under clients, yep, and then kiosk mode. So kiosk is where you can edit those fields. I do want to mention that some of these fields or some of this customization is available on our Elite package. So if you have questions about that, if you go to your settings and you realize you don't have some of these things or you can't customize it the way you want to, my team and I, we love to sit down with you. We can, talk about that of getting those fields enabled for you. but this is where you can edit that kiosk mode. And then again, that ties into contactless capture and everything that we've just talked about. So
cool. Really excited about this. Really pumped to make this available. It is available to all of you. Excited to hear your feedback. There's even more stuff coming with this, and we'll talk about that in a minute.
yeah.
Also, on the work that's been recently made available, we've spent some time in the associate performance report. We've been listening to your feedback about how you want to manage performance, how you want to look at the data that Clientbook provides. And so we've made some updates to the associate performance report that Josh is going to walk you through as well.
Yeah. So first things first, actually, let's take a step back. If you're not familiar with our reporting, I would highly recommend anyone, especially as an admin, to come in to view the reporting. We did a big overhaul late last year, so the reporting isn't relatively new. But in conversations that we've had with customers at a recent RJO show, when I was showing reporting to some customers, they seemed a little bit surprised by it, like, oh, this is cool, this is new. So we just want to highlight and make sure that everyone is aware about these changes that we've made and, utilizing it for your store. What Todd was referencing, so a big change that we made to this associate performance report based on feedback that we were getting is when I'm looking at my associate performance, some key things that we changed here. This initially, clients contacted used to just show you just basically outbound messages. We still show you the outbound messages, but we've now kind of changed the verbiage and the wording and the metric around how many customers have been contacted. So in this scenario, right, if I were to look at the previous month for Ryan's store, I know that they contacted about 1,400 customers, right? That's across 3,000 messages, but what I really want to know from my associates is, how many customers are they contacting? The other really big change right here, and let me just make this a little bit bigger too, so that way everyone make sure that you can see it, was this reminders completed section right here. Before, it only used to calculate reminders that were completed or skipped. Now what it's showing you as well is incomplete reminders. So if I were to look at month to date, for example, I can see, for example, that Ryan, their store, they've completed 181 reminders. They've skipped 38 of them, but they also have 3 incomplete reminders or overdue reminders. That was a really key component that was missing from the reporting was, where do I see my overdue reminders? I want to make sure I'm following up with my sales associates to make sure that they are completing the reminders, that there's nothing that's overdue. So as always, this gives you a high level overview of the store and how the team is doing overall. So I can see all the customers contacted, reminders completed, activities logged, how many clients were added in manually. And I guess one thing I want to highlight here, this is different than adding a client via your point of sale. What we are interested in is those customers that are walking into the store that you're capturing without a sale, right? So manually added in, sales opportunities, your AI insights. Then down here below is where I can see that breakdown, right? So I don't want to call out any specific associates, but again, this is where I can click into the reporting. I can go into each different sales associates and see, okay, which reminders they've skipped, which reminders they've completed, which are overdue. That is going to go into, this is like version 1 of it. Todd, I don't want to speak for you or too far ahead, but I do know we're going to also make this maybe a little bit more clear. One idea is basically having different tabs that you can click into. So I can see the completed, then I can click into the overdue tab, and then I can click into the skipped tab, instead of seeing it in this list view right here. So I hope I didn't speak.
No, that's good.
But
We want to enable you to manage performance really, really well in Clientbook. And we're trying to make strides in that direction and align with you. There's a lot more to do. And it's part of the feedback that we want to get from you today as well. But we've made a bunch of progress so far.
Yeah, cool. So that was our poll. Thank you again so much for answering that question for us. Moving forward, what else is coming
next up? So one of the things that we've been focusing on this last year is making it easier to send amazing pictures of products to clients. For most of us, the images in our point of sale were snapped with a cell phone or things like that. They're not the best thing. It's not really putting the best foot forward when we then in Clientbook send that product to a client over a text message. And so we've spent a lot of time working with brands to make their high quality marketing images available to you. We launched Tacori. If you carry Tacori, we've launched a Jaffe, and we want to announce, if you weren't aware, that now we have a full Gabriel integration and also Lashbrook. Gabriel was, I think, our most requested for sure. So we're in a lot of stores that carry Gabriel now. And some of the cool things to just let you know about with this is you have access to the full catalog. So you may or may not have an item in your case, but you'll have access to the full catalog to be able to search, create collections for your clients so they can see these beautiful images. We also keep track of the things that are purchased and give you AI product recommendations. So the classic example is, you know, so-and-so bought a fashion jewelry item. And with Gabriel specifically, we've worked with their technology teams to provide personalized recommendations based on the purchases. So if they bought a Bujicon bracelet or earrings, they recommend exactly the right item that will go with that. And you can then send those items to your clients. We also do the other use case that's very common is bridal. So someone comes in, buys an engagement ring. 3 months after they purchase that, we'll remind your sales associate to follow up about wedding bands and provide specific product recommendations for which wedding bands we recommend. And this is tied directly into Gabriel or Tacori, you know, the brand that you're using. And so we're really excited about Gabriel. We're excited about the partnership there with them and to put these things in your hands as well.
Yeah. So with that, we actually have another poll question that we wanted to ask. Let me get that pulled up real quick. Okay, cool. Thanks, everyone. That's great. Let's go back. Moving on. So
okay, cool.
That's what we want.
So
let's talk about
it's out there. Everyone can use everything we just talked about. We're excited to have you explore these things, give us feedback, and get more information from customers quickly. Now we're going to transition into things that are not yet available. So we have a few merchants that we're working with to build these features. They're in beta, but we're really excited about bringing this to everyone as soon as possible. So we're going to focus in on a couple of things. The biggest thing we're working on right now is appointments. We talked about it last webinar. We've been thinking about it for a while. We all know that appointments are high intent, experiences to buy. So people don't casually book an appointment. They want to talk to you about something. They want to buy something. And so we know that they convert. Today in your stores, you're probably seeing that if you're really active with appointments and running your store by appointment, you have higher conversion on those appointments. We know that these high intent experiences lead to more sales. We also know that people want an in-person experience, that in-store shopping, scheduling time for an appointment, not only is a great experience to know what you're buying, but it's this kind of VIP experience to really get this attention from a sales associate in a personalized way. And yeah, people shop online, but there's so much shopping that happens in store, especially in the jewelry industry. So it's super relevant for what you're doing. I've already talked a little bit about this, but it's not just about selling more jewelry. It's about the relationship that you have with your clients, giving them exclusive attention, helping them feel like you are their jeweler and that you have a relationship with them. And when you run your business, more on appointments and have that part of your sales process to ask for appointments and follow up to get appointments, it increases the in-store traffic for your store as you make that part of your sales process and really push your sales associates to have people book appointments. But what's hard about this is if you have it on your website, somebody gets an email, or even if you're using a great product like Calendly, there's a lot of gaps with that. You don't have quick access to who the customer is. I know I have an appointment with this customer, now I gotta go look them up. Calendly is definitely not gonna give you that. There's very little automation and follow-up. So yeah, they'll get an email, they might get a reminder, but there's so much more on the table for automations that could be happening. And for sure, you're not getting any visibility into what actually happened out of the box with your website contact form or with even a great product like Calendly. So we are setting out to change all of that with our appointment stuff. So I want to give you a little tour of what appointments look like and where we're headed with it. So first and foremost, it is going to need to be personalized to your brand. We're going to build on top of what we've done with contactless capture so that you can put an appointment form and a contact form on your website available to your customers, branded to your store, not only with your logo and your colors, but with the services that you provide. So you might have, you might buy a lot of jewelry, so you'll have an appraisal service. You might not, and so you don't have that type. You can create whatever custom services that you want to offer to your customers to be able to choose the type of appointment, the type of experience that they're going to have when they come into your store. So all of that is customized for you. We also will offer this in different flavors. So the default and the most normal and useful way is store appointments. So if you're a multi-store operation, customers will be able to choose which store they want to set an appointment with. And because we know your store hours, we'll only allow them to pick times that are within the store hours. If you're closed on Mondays, or if you close at 6 p.m., we'll respect those store hours so that they can pick only the ones that apply. They'll tell you the reason for their visit, and those will be routed so that managers and admins can assign those out to associates. So that's like bread and butter, basic, awesome appointments. We also will allow you, similar to the QR code for the contactless capture, we will allow you to have personalized appointments, associate appointments. So an associate will have their own landing page for appointments with them. You may or may not want to use this, it's totally up to you, but you have this option to be able to say, an associate can text a link to someone and say, book an appointment with me. And that will be with them at a specific store. And again, we'll respect the store hours, all the reason, and they can even add a note of what they want to talk to you about. So those can go directly to associates and not have to be assigned. And then the last thing is something that we're designing right now. Everything that you've seen so far, that we've talked about so far, is out in beta and being used. One thing that we're designing and working on right now is the wait list or up system. So sometimes you might be a high traffic store. On a Saturday, you might have a bunch of people coming in to look and make maybe a Rolex inquiry or other things like that. And you might have people waiting. So we'll allow you to either let guests check themselves in and join a wait list, and then we'll have text communication when the associate is available to assist them. Or you might have an associate that greets a guest, kind of like a concierge service, where that associate will be able to see who's next, like who should this customer be kind of given to as they walk in the door. So you can use it either way on this wait list or up system approach. So all of these things will be available with appointments, and we're really excited to put them in your hands. Now, because it's Clientbook, we're going to do awesome automations. So we're going to give you the ability to customize what the message is when the client, requests an appointment. What kind of message will they get instantaneously to their phone? You get to customize that. We'll also allow you to customize any reminders that the client gets and the associate would get before the appointment and after the appointment. We're really excited to help stores manage things like no-shows and cancellations too, because you might have a client that intends to come in, but then doesn't, and it's hard to remember to follow up with those people. So with Clientbook, we'll help you to know, hey, if this was a no-show, what do you want to have happen? What kind of reminder do you want to send? Do you want to send a message to that client? So we're really excited to automate a lot of those things and make it easier for associates to just open their app and see, who am I meeting with today? So we're really, really pumped about that. For managers and admins, we want to make it really easy for you to see what's going on in any of your stores and to manage the flow of appointments. In some stores, appointments are almost like a perk or a reward, you know, like who's doing the best, they might get more of the appointments. So we make it really easy to see all the inflow of appointments in the Clientbook app, make it really simple for you to assign those appointments to associates, and then to be able to finally see what's going on after the appointment. So we're going to bake appointments into reporting. It'll have its own report where you can see how many appointment requests are we getting, how many actually happened, and how many didn't happen, and then what sales were driven by these appointments. So we'll use our same sales attribution model to help you know the outcomes of these appointments. So we'll bake it into its own report, and these will also live on your current sales report, where you already have attribution for things like messages and reminders. You'll now have appointments in that space as well. So really excited to make this available to everyone as soon as it's ready to go, and grateful for those who are partnering with us on beta. Okay, that's appointments.
There we go. That was a lot.
So other things that are happening right now, we are working on files on clients. So you can put files in collections and files on client activities. The reason this is important, today, when you want to send something to a customer and it doesn't exist in your point of sale, people are basically creating products that aren't really products, and it can clutter up your list of products when really I just want to send them a picture of something, or I want to send them a file. Now you can add file. Well, you will be able to. We're working on it. You will be able to add files to collections without cluttering up the product feed. And then we'll also have that on client activities. So you might have someone come in and you need to attach a file to what happened when they came in. So now you can attach a file to those client activities, have a record of it, be able to see those files. It'd be pretty awesome.
Yeah, a pretty big use case that I hear a lot is like repair work, right?
Totally.
When Todd comes in, you want to log the repair in client activity. You may want to take a picture of the repair before and after. All of that lives underneath the customer profile without adding to the product page.
Perfect.
So
that's a great example. Okay, last thing on the stuff in progress. We have a partnership with the Crystal point of sale, and we've been working with their team on a direct integration. If you use Crystal, you can still integrate with Clientbook through Big, you know, and so we can do kind of a one-way integration today, but this integration is a direct API integration with Crystal, and will be a two-way integration, and we just kicked that off. So we're really excited about that as well. Tons and tons and tons of stuff going on. That's the end of that list.
Well, as I say, with that said, there's a lot more stuff that's in progress, but
true, yeah.
There's
constantly fixing bugs, constantly adding new little features, making enhancements. But these are kind of the big things. So
with that said, I know we're kind of coming up on time. So I want to be respectful for everyone. We know how busy it gets, especially as they're starting to ramp up into Q4. I did see some questions come through. I haven't looked at these questions yet, so we're just going to be answering these live. So bear with us for a little bit. Again, thanks to Adam. It looks like he's been answering a lot of questions as well in the background. But let's just try and go through these. So what do you think is the most effective way to implement the new QR code functionality?
I'll give two quick hits.
Go for it.
I think the phone background is really, really cool. So you can have your associates go in, download a phone background, save it to their phone, And now it's just always with them. They might even not even be in the store and make a contact, and they can just show their QR code and people can scan it and get in touch with them. I think that's one of the biggest ways. And then using it on your website, those are my 2 quick hits.
Yeah, I would say similar. It's similar in that regard. You can even print it off on business cards.
Yep.
One of our merchants, what they actually ended up doing is getting like a little tent for your counter. On one side, it was actually a QR code to their Google review page, and then the other side was for contactless capture.
Perfect.
So again, in the store, it's really, just gathering information as well. Like Todd comes in, I may sit him down and be like, hey Todd, I'm gonna go back, I'm gonna grab some watches, I'm gonna grab some water for you. While you're waiting here, do you mind just filling out this form, right? And they can just scan it real quick, fill it out on their phone. Customers, I mean, for me speaking as a millennial, I personally feel more comfortable just like doing stuff my own on my phone. So just some little tips there, but
cool.
Is there a way to message pipeline if they could be organized by date versus how many weeks ago? Okay, so if I'm understanding this, I think you're probably talking about the pipeline report. Can it be organized by date versus how many weeks ago? We may need to get a little bit more clarification of like what you're asking for specifically. If I'm understanding you correctly, I think the associate performance report currently, when you look at the pipeline, it's going to show you basically when those pipelines were created. The pipeline report is going to show you future tense, like what is going to close is based on the close date. So I'll love to follow up with you, maybe get a little bit more clarification, and we can help answer that.
Vendors. So it is very simple. The question is, what does it take for vendors to be integrated? Is it free? So it's very, very simple. There is a relationship between you and the vendor. So the vendor gives the thumbs up, you give the thumbs up, we turn it on. That's basically how it works. And for you, it is free. Yeah. So if you have a relationship with one of these vendors, yeah, it's super easy. super easy.
Yep. Can you add appointments to store calendar?
So I'm guessing this implies that you have maybe a Google Calendar or some sort of calendar out there for your store. What we're trying to do is integrate it deeply into Clientbook. And what we found when we were doing research is that, a person will say, hey, I'll come to the store on Thursday afternoon at 2 o'clock. And really it's not that. It's like maybe 1 o'clock, maybe 3 o'clock. And so what we focused on is capturing the information and giving it to the associate at the right time and all the automations. And we've kind of not tied it to a calendar. We found that most people certainly don't have associate calendars and rarely have a store calendar. So we're calendar-less, and it's just in Clientbook by time, by date.
Yeah. So it lives in your
reminders.
Clientbook calendar.
Yeah, it's in your Clientbook calendar.
Yeah. This is actually a question that we were debating yesterday. Is like, can we set appointments for like phone call or Zoom?
Oh, good one. I'm a pretty strong yes on phone and probably a no on Zoom. Although the idea of a virtual appointment, when I did my 90 website research, looking at everyone's websites, virtual appointments did come up. So I do think it's something we want to support, but we'll probably keep it very, very simple. So a person could say, I want a virtual appointment, and then it would be assigned to the associate. And in your store, that will either mean, cool, call this person, or send them a link to your personal Zoom or to whatever. We won't probably do a deep integration with a meeting provider, but yes, we want to support virtual appointments.
Yeah. So this question came through. It looks like kind of based on the up system or that waitlist feature, we'll also have them go ahead and capture the client info.
Yeah, I must have just skipped that. So it will start with, it's basically built into the same thing as contactless capture. So you're going to get their name and phone number and all that stuff. And then in addition to that, you'll be able to say, join the wait list or schedule an appointment at a specific time. Yep. So yes, for sure.
Cool. So this question, will the beta features like adding pictures to a customer's profile also sync with point of sale integrations like on the edge? That actually is a really good question. I hadn't thought about because
That's cool.
you add notes into Clientbook and that syncs back and forth. So
I would love for that to be true. So it will be in it'll be in Clientbook. It'll be in the Clientbook API. Yeah, we'd love to. I don't know if the Edge can integrate that or not. But it would be available in our API. So I'll make a note of it and reach out to Edge and see what they could do. Not all integrations have all different features, but yeah, we'll see if the Edge can implement that.
Mm-hmm. So last couple questions. So I know you can use a QR code and embed it into our website, but is there an embedded form we can have or a way to get that chat bot to capture more than just phone number?
Oh, okay. So this is kind of the difference between web chat and contactless capture. This is another one where maybe we should follow up, reach out, and we can chat. But the way I see it is there's multiple services. So keep your web chat. Web chat's great for kicking off a quick conversation. Replace your contact us page with this new thing. So have a link on your website that says contact us, and it actually goes to this new contactless capture. Update your website to start using that. And now you'll have both options. So you can get all the information on the form, or you can have them, if they aren't comfortable with that, they can chat with you in web chat. That's kind of how I'm thinking about it.
Cool. So regretfully, I do think we're on time. There are a couple more questions in here, so we'll make sure we'll reach out to you. Yeah, I see more and more questions coming through. So regretfully, we do have to end now, but we do have your contact information. Thank you so much for your questions and for your engagement. We will follow up with you. We have quite a things that we need to follow up with when it comes to the brands that you submitted kind of that feedback for. I think it might be safe to say that like we'll be in contact too, just kind of based on like your feedback. Again, we want your voice to be heard. We want to gather your feedback. So we may reach out to get any additional details from you. For any of the questions that we didn't have time to answer today, I'll make sure we'll follow up with you and we'll make sure that those don't go unanswered, right? We'll follow up. We'll make sure you guys are good. But then again, thank you so much for joining us. Look forward. We have another great webinar planned in the next month or so. That's going to be really fun. So be on the lookout for that to register for that event. And yeah, thanks everyone. Hope you have a great rest of your day.
See ya. Thank you.